Good morning, class. How have you been? I hope all of you are keeping safe and well and taking all the precautionary measures so that you keep yourself and your family and friends safe from the COVID pandemic. So in the last couple of classes, we have been discussing about the process of communication, and we also began with certain classifications of communication, certain types of communication. In the last class, we learned about formal and informal communication, and we understood how their form and content are different, and on the basis of the difference in the form and content of that communication, we classified them into formal and informal. And now we are going into another classification, which is verbal and non-verbal communication. So it's very easy to understand. Verbal communication involves language. That is, imagine that I'm communicating something to you. You understand what I'm telling you because you know the language that I'm using. So I'm communicating through verbal communication here. So imagine that I'm writing a letter to you. Written communication, oral communication, everywhere, wherever language is involved, it is verbal communication. So, but most of the time when I communicate to you, even in the classroom, it's not just the language that I'm using that is communicating things to you, but rather when I'm speaking, the gestures that I use, my hand movements and my body language and my eye contact and the expressions that I give, they also communicate a lot to you. So this is actually called non-verbal communication. Whatever is there beyond the scope of language in communication would be non-verbal communication. Most of the time, communication is actually a combination of verbal and non-verbal communication, not just linguistic communication, but also many other elements like I'll just divide them so that you get a better idea. Now, eye contact is very important. If I'm looking into your eyes, it communicates a kind of trust that I have in you, or it communicates a kind of confidence that I have in you. That's a non-verbal element there. Or imagine that you're suffering from a very difficult phase and I come and place my hand on your shoulder. So my touch is communicating a lot to you. That's called haptics. And imagine that when I'm very angry, I may shout. My normal voice is like this, but if I say, stop it, then my voice and the pitch of my voice communicates a lot to you. So this is in a way called para-language. Not just language, it's para-language. So then you might see traffic signs and road signs. You might stop in front of a signal because you see the red light. What happens there? Did anybody come and tell you that, sir, this is not the time to go, please wait for 15 seconds and then you may go? Did anybody come and tell you that? You saw the red light and you understood that you are supposed to stop there. So you stopped your vehicle there and you continue when you see the green signal. So this is again a sign language. So this is also non-verbal communication. So I hope not just that. Imagine that I am standing probably 2 or 3 meters away from you and talking to you. Or imagine that you're a very close friend. I might stand probably 1 meter close to you. So this is also called Proximix. This is also communicating a lot of things to you. Imagine if you're standing close to somebody, it means that you trust that person or you consider that person somebody in your closer circles, which means that even that distance communicates a lot. It's called Proximix. That's also a part of the non-verbal type of communication. So I think you have a holistic picture now. Verbal communication involves the use of language, and written oral communication and using language is verbal communication, and sign language and body language and facial gestures and then Proximix and eye contact, all this come under non-verbal communication. I hope the idea is clear to you. So next time when you communicate, just look into these elements. What strategies am I using? Am I using non-verbal communication? Am I using verbal communication? And always remember that it's a combination of both that makes effective communication possible. If I come and stand here like this and tell you that this is verbal communication, this is oral communication, you may not get the gist of it that clearly. But when I'm using my body language, my eye contact, my gestures, you get the idea more clearly. So always the better mode of communication would have a combination of both verbal and non-verbal communication. I hope it's clear. So there are further classifications of communication which we will be learning in the coming classes. For the time being, keep this in mind: verbal and non-verbal. Thank you.